Hello, guys. We are back and we are gonna be doing a draft here. We are doing the Gate Crash, sorry, Dragon's Mate, Gate Crash, and Return to Ravnica block draft. And we just opened our pack. We have an awesome Advent foil of the worm. Sorry, we have an awesome foil Advent of the worm. And we also have Melek, Izzet Paragon here, some couple notable cards. But definitely our pick here is gonna be Advent of the Worm. Melek is okay, but it's not really exciting and it's pretty hard to play, especially in limited. Spike Jester is a fine, very good Rakdos card if you are going that aggressive route. And as a Simic, Beetle Form Mage is quite very good. I've had some really good experiences with this. It's evasive in some form and becomes a really huge flying creature. But definitely the play here is an Advent of the Worm. And we are receiving some good Celestia cards still. So we have Alive and Well, which is a good card, but it's not, it's nowhere better than the Bronze Big Moa. This card is really good. I've had a chance to play with it during the pre-release and some drafts as well. Um, it syncs well with your populate and things that can really help you bring down cards or creatures in the field. If you happen to have that maze creature that gives trample, then it's becomes even more amazing. That being said, we have Corossa Gorgon here and a few removals. Fatal Fume is nice. Windrake is also okay. Rubble Belt Maaka is also quite nice, but we're just gonna pick these cards from here. Alright, there's a Mirko Mind Drinker, which is not really gonna go well with our first few picks here. Although there's another Celestia and we are looking to receive the signal that Celestia is open. So we're just gonna tag this Unflinching Courage, which is extremely nice. It does give you open to 2 for 1, but if you play it pretty well and you try to play around removals, then it will just give you that uh, edge. This one, if you happen to hit at least one or twice, then it's gonna be big game so far. Other notable cards are the two gatekeepers here. Both of them really nice. Although I prefer the Sunspire better. Drown in Filth I haven't had the chance to play with. Okay. So we've seen some Azurius cards earlier, and it gives me, or in some white notable cards, gives me the impression that Azurius is open also. There's another Unflinching Courage here, but I don't think I'm gonna be running two of them. We can either take a Ascended Low Mage here, which is really awesome, or we can get a safe pick Kroll Warrior. But at this early point of time, I don't want to be getting a Kroll Warrior. And if ever I'm gonna get this Deputy of Acquittals, then I just might as well get the Low Mage instead. So let's take the low mage here and look into the possibility that we might play Bunt. Nothing here so far that's promising. There's an Azurius Clue Stone which might help us, but there's also a Profit and Loss. Profit is quite okay. Actually, if you time it well, it can reverse the I mean in this format we get a lot of stalled boards happening around. So if you happen to assign some blockers or you are at the attack end of the combat, it can help you out. But it's not really worth that first picking here. We might go the Armored Wolf Rider or this Snare Squad. Let's just pick the Rider here. It seems to be a pretty solid 5 drop, which is a curve topper. Nothing much here as well. There's a Rat Farm Skeleton, which is nice, but I am not really a fan of milling myself out unless there's a deep Golgari um, strategy that we're looking into. Although it is worth considering provided that we have picked up some Celestia cards here already. Although I am really looking forward to drafting this guild gate as well. Let's mm, anyway. That could be the wrong pick there because we're seeing some fatal fumes here. Although I don't really mind just taking a Windrake here. Should we have picked the Rotten Farm Skeleton earlier, then we have a good follow-up in the form of Fatal Fumes. But having to pick an Ascendant Law Mage and ensuring us some sort of a mana fix here, along with the follow-up pick of Windrake isn't really bad. I am quite happy to do that. And we are rewarded. So we just got our second Ascendant Lomage here. Other notable picks is a Cluestone perhaps and the Gatekeeper. Maze Abomination being one of the better maze creatures because it gives your creatures death touch. If you happen to have stalwarts and your small creatures is just doing nothing, it can give that little edge over and it allows your units to attack. But definitely within this pack, there's a clear signal that Azurius is open and Celestia is open as well. Okay, nothing here. There's a toil, but I don't want to be cutting that. The mere clue stone. None of the clue stone is particularly um, set up for us. There's Saruli gatekeepers, which is fine, but I'm thinking if we didn't pick up much gate, so I'm just gonna take this lower curve creature here. Nothing here as well. We can take this one, but I don't want to be running two of them anymore. The Pyro Burst might just get some consideration if we happen to find some ways to, um, given that we have a few evasive creatures already, so we might just play that Pyro Burst. Nothing here. Probably a murmuring phantasm. Or there's a drowning field and a mending touch. Mending touch, I'm not really particularly looking to play, but we probably take this right control. It has its applications at some point, and we are very happy to will the Deputy of Acquittals here. Such a solid card. I didn't really expect this to be willing or to come back, but we couldn't be too happy to get that. So there's a Wake the Reflections and the Maze Sentinel. Not really looking forward to playing this Maze Sentinel. I probably take the Wake just in case we end up picking good Celestia cards that involves Populate later on. So I'm just gonna check our video here if it's recording. All right. Okay, we are on to the Gate Crash pack. There is a card here. Giant antiphage. Uh, this is really sweet, actually. Imagine that. If we can just run this and do populates, then it's gonna be very insane. However, I don't want to be picking it right now because there's a Arrows of Justice here, which is such a solid removal. Other notable cards are Miming Slime, which is fine, and nothing much else. Psychic Strike is okay, and the Disciple is okay as well. So I think the pick here is just straightforward Arrows of Justice. Although wouldn't mind having a giant Adiphage and doing some populate with it just for fun. But this is not a fun deck, and we're just gonna get the Arrows of Justice here. Okay, let's see what's in store for us. Nothing really for our consumption here. There's a 2-drop Frilled Oculus which we might be taking. Scrub Clan's Charger is not bad, but in the 4 drops slot we are already stoked. Um, I hate to be passing it, but we need to prioritize our 2 drops here for curve purposes. So we're just gonna take this Frilled Oculus. But let's arrange our deck here first in such a way that we have more or less an idea of what we are trying to draft. So our curve is quite okay. Just need to fill in a few more gaps. So let's take a Frilled Oculus. Nothing outstanding apart from a very good Krokanura here. And then there's also Simic Guildgate which can help us out. But we didn't draft any gatekeepers for the benefit of maximizing those guild gates. So we're just gonna stick to power level here and draft the Krokanura. A notable cards is of course the Basilica Guards and this Dimrova Horror, along with Syndicate Enforcer here. But definitely we're gonna take the Krokanura, which is really good for us, and it helps out in filling out our curve here. Okay, so we have a choice here to get the Green Side Watcher or a Rust Carab. I am thinking we can make use of the Rust Carab because it's quite a solid card. And given that this format has a lot of enchantments in the form of um, Crisis Incubations, Stab Wounds, Ethereal Armor, all those Agoraphobia, and even a Runner's Bane, this might just help us out. And it might be a good pick here. Um, so the 5 to cast, the 5 mana for 5 body isn't really bad. Although a Green Side Watcher could really fill out our curve here. Let's take the Rascarab. Nothing here worth taking. There's an Urban Evolution, which is kind of nice. However, in terms of stability, I'd probably just take a Disciple here because I don't want to be grasping for 2 drops later on. I do feel sad, kind of sad passing this Urban Evolution, but we might just be able to find better slots for our additional non-creature spells. So I think we need to prioritize creature here because it's our win condition. So let's just take this Disciple. Okay, it looks like blue green or Simic is still open. So we're just gonna reserve this Keymaster Rogue, which really is an okay card for us, and it helps evolve our Krokanura. Not to mention that it is evasive. I'm just gonna try to rearrange this pile of ours again. So we're just gonna take the rogue here. There is a second urban evolution, which we might just take now. Although there's a Spire Tracer as well, which works really well with our enchantment. I'm getting torn between the two. We are on a pretty safe creature level though. So we might just take this urban evolution. Um, I wouldn't want to pass the Spire Tracer, but we don't have stuffs like Ivy Lane Denizen that can really buff it consistently. We only have the enchantment of ours, but there's a tendency we might not draw that. So it's not really worth um, setting aside. So let's just see what's here. There's a tower defense. Not really what we are looking to pick here, but I think it's better to just cut this one. Nothing else. Probably a naturalize because I don't want to be running this Court Street Denizen. There's no application of that for us. Although an armored transport might just make it if we attach it with our enchantment. Either that or we can just take this naturalize, which I don't really feel bad picking. Like I said, there's a lot of enchantments around, especially stab wounds, and we might just need that naturalize with us. Nothing here now. So Wildwood Rebirth, I've seen some people play that, and it yielded them good results. Serene Remembrance, no. Hands of Binding, maybe. Given that we have a lot of evasive creatures, this might just work for us. If we happen to pick up some, no, we won't be able to because Extort is only in Great Crush. So let's just take a Bioshift, no. This one, Denizen, Skybinder Strap maybe. Alpha Authority. Yeah. Night Watch. Yeah, we can run that if really needed. So far I'm pretty happy with the way that our playables has been drafted. So we are presented here with our curve toppers in the form of the recent sanctuary or the Esperia. Sorry, Archon of Trubinate. It's really expensive to be very honest. I'd like to run that Archon. However, I might just take a safe call of the conclave here and then start hunting for populate cards. That could be the pick. I'm trying to limit myself not to engage in much of the um, high costing cards here because we don't really have much ramp anyway. So I think the pick here, the more disciplined pick here would be Call of the Conclave. Although we don't mind really tabling either of these guys, the Risen Sanctuary or the Archon. Okay, nothing here for us aside from a Azurius Guildgate, and Rootborn defense doesn't really hurt. Although at this early stage of the game, we would have been looking for a better card. However, we might just take this Sunspire Griffin. I'm not really sure because given that we're running three colors, I've already had experiences wherein it gotten really bad for me not being able to cast looking for my second color there. So I might just pass this and just go for a Guild Gate or a Rootborn defense. Think I'm just gonna take the Guild Gate here because nothing else is there. A Codex Shredder is fine, but uh, nothing really worth first picking. There is an Ice in the Skies, which is probably our pick. There's also a Centaur Herald, which is also worth picking. In terms of removal, there's also a Trostani's Judgment. This is a tough one to be honest. I'm really looking to play the Ice in the Skies, but given that we are clogged on our 4 drops slot already, then probably the pick here is a Centaur Herald. But we do like to get some more populate cards here. So we're just gonna play a safe Centaur Healer for now. Herald, I mean. I keep saying healer. There's some really strong uh, Rakdos cards here. But I think the pick for us should be Vassal Soul. Vassal because it runs either blue or white. Before if you're not entirely on Azorius, you might just pass this. It's kind of bad, but at this point, the more color options you have, then the better. It's better. It became better than the Sunspire Griffin because Sunspire is exclusively for white. So I think we're just gonna take the Vassal Sword here and then arrange our cards a little bit. Okay, there's a very nice Azurius Charm looking back at us. We're just gonna evaluate here our deck first. We'll just reserve the Azurius Charm. So we have a few non-creature spells. In terms of removal, we only have Armor of Justice. So our um, Trostani's Judgment back there might have helped, but we just picked an Azurius Charm here, which could really help us out. And there's also a Dramatic Rescue, which is probably worth picking over the Keening Apparition. Although I really feel sad passing this one because Keening Apparition is really, really good, to be honest, against the crazy enchantments that is going around. So what do you think? We're still pretty low on creatures, so it's gonna hurt for me to pass that Dramatic Rescue, but probably the more wiser pick here is the Keening Apparition. Nothing here, although a Void Wielder is a pretty nice curve topper. Other than that, there's a Soulsworn Spirit, which is also very good. But I think we might just want a Void Wielder here. So do we want a Soulsworn or do we want a Void Wielder? Because this can detain as well. However, I wanted to pick this because there's a lot of enchantments like um, the one we mentioned. So having a Void Wielder doesn't really help hurt there. If they happen to do some Unflinching Courage or Deviant Glee at some point with their creature, then bouncing it back is really nice. I'm gonna take the Avenging Harrow for the reasons that we don't have removal and we might encounter situation where we just need to remove. So let's just take this one. There we go. We have wielded our Curve Topper Recent Sanctuary there. So the question is, do we want to run this one? We can play 18 lands and then just run a Recent Sanctuary. Or we can also pick this Ethereal Armor and equip our flyers. I'll probably just pick the armor here. I might have regret that passing that Recent Sanctuary, but we are somehow benefited with an Axebane start here, which might just make the cut later. And yes, we are happy to take this Ice in the Skies. So it's a semi-populate type of deck. There's also a Horn Caller's Chant, which might not be playable, but we could never be too sure. And oh my god, the Dramatic Rescue has just tabled, which is unbelievable. So that is quite a blessing for us. We are looking at a pretty decent Celestia deck here, a Bant deck to be honest. So we have ways to populate in the form of Wake the Reflections. We might just bring that in. However, let's see what we have here first. Let's set aside our um, cards. So there are cards like non-creature cards but not necessarily removal cards. There are semi-removal cards like Azurius Charm, Dramatic Rescue, Armors of Justice, and Avenging Arrow. Some populate cards like Ice in the Skies. Fortunately, we didn't hunt other populate cards already there. So we only have Ice in the Skies for populate. Let's set aside it right here. We do have some tokens. Pretty solid 2 drops. Has the Snare Squad, we might not play this because there's no application I can see. Although if we ended up being aggressive, then it might just help us out here. But I don't see our current status just as yet. Let's just put it on the sideboard for now, and then later if we can see we have an avenue for being aggressive, then we can just bring it in back. So there's a Deputy of Acquittal, Spyro Burst, which might be very useful, especially with our evasive creatures. However, I think I might just put this in back. Let's see later. If later he has no direct answer for flyers, then probably we can just bring this in. But for now, there's no. direct application for that. Okay, Fleeting Courage, Weldrake. This one I'm quite hesitant to bring in because we have our Raskarab. So let's just see for now. These are the enchantments. Although if we happen to attach this on one of our creatures, then it's gonna be very game breaking. There's a Keymaster Rogue, Ascendant Low Mage. All of these four drops are really solid. An Armored Wolf Rider might get cut here. So not really looking to play an Axebane Stag right now. So that might get the cut. Urban Evolution, do we want to do this? Mm, yeah, we can probably just set this aside for now because we're pretty high on the non-creature spells, and our creature count is quite okay because we have some token producing spells here. The Wolf Rider might just not make it. So we are running 23 now because there's a couple of lands here. Let's try to review our deck. So this is what our deck looks like. Our removal package, our non-creature spells. But I think we can just make it like this, right? Because these are mostly considered as creatures, and the Ice in the Skies does work really well against, sorry, together with the Bronzebeak Moa. Okay, so this looks promising. Pretty much one of the more organized, so to speak, decks that I was able to draft with this format. So let's see here. We are going to be needing some early green and blue. The white might not be that very pertinent apart from the fourth turn. So we are going to be placing some priority on the green because it comes quite early, and then the blue as well. So let's see. So green blue is on our top end or early turn. Let's try to sort by color here to give us an idea of what's happening. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 white. Okay. Our green is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 16 and 10 for our green. For our blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 for our blue. So I think decent decent land distribution here would be to split actually because we're looking at heavy blue dependence, but green is gonna be going early. So a split between white, blue, and green is our ideal land base there because white is not gonna come in apart from keening operation, of course, on the later part of the game. So let's see how we're gonna balance out our lands here. It's suggesting, of course, we're gonna take this out and then put some white, probably like this, green, right? And then place a blue here and then cut a white here. The reason being, um, we have guild gates. So if we do it like this, then we have 7 white sources, 6 blue sources, and then 6 green sources, which I find quite balanced, hopefully, because the only um, double mana cost here is the advent of the worm. So let's just make it like this. And then we'll just observe if we are gonna be needing some sort of adjustments later. But I think that's a much safer land distribution. Okay, let's submit this deck, and we will see you for round 1.